Hello, my friends. This is the podcast that brings the wealth of knowledge, expertise, and fun of Twin Smoke Shop, New England's premier smoke shop, right to you, wherever you are, whenever you want it. And that's not just blowing smoke. You can find us at our website, notjustblowingsmoke.com, and be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Not Just Blowing Smoke.
Cool breeze in my head, bittersweet smoke flying through the air. It's the way I feel, smoking on fire.
This is Not Just Blowing Smoke, and we are in the second half of our show here, and we are reviewing for our pipe tobacco Rattray's Marlin Flake. And from the tin, you get this very nice, basic, no-frills description. This dark flake is composed from dark Virginia's Black Cavendish, as well as a pinch of Perique. It is manufactured by Colhays and Kopp. It is a Virginia Perique blend. It is Virginia Black Cavendish and Perique. There's no flavoring on this. It does come in a very nice flake. And before we get into it, we are enjoying a Line 39 Pinot Noir with this. Are we not there, Brie?
Oh, yes, we are. Yes, this was actually Paul's choice tonight. This is his favorite house wine.
Yes,
Should I ask Paul about it?
I would say so.
Oh, yeah. Paul, take it away, Paul. I know that this is one of your favorites.
Yes, so my girlfriend and I have this as a staple in our house. This is a wonderful Pinot Noir from California, from the Monterey Valley. You're going to get a lot of strawberry, raspberry flavors out of this. 14.5%, light enough, but still has some nice body. So, if you have a nice meal, hearty meal, it will complement that very, very well. Or a wonderful pipe tobacco.
Nice.
I'm guessing this will go very, very well tonight.
Well, I hope so. This pipe tobacco to me has some graham cracker kind of sweetness to it. It's got some little bit of cocoa notes to it. Some the Perique in this for me is not really that spiciness that you sometimes get. It's more of a figgy kind of a feeling. Even in the retro, I'm not getting much spice. Paul, what do you think? What are you picking up on this?
Yeah, I would agree. It's a very light, maybe light to medium at best tobacco. Lots of that dry fruit right off the bat. I'm getting that. Maybe just a little bit of some woodiness too. Very, very light spice on the retrohale. Very pleasant, extremely pleasant tobacco. I really love this. With the pairing, I think the wine, the Pinot Noir, is bringing out a little bit more of that woody tones. It's I would say it's complementary. It really, really is. It's not bringing out more of the dried fruit, but I think it's pairing well with the other flavors we would get out of it. The spice on the retrohale is still very, very smooth, very, very light. I'm really, really enjoying this very much.
How do you think Paul did with the pairing here, Brie?
I honestly think that he did great. Originally, I was thinking, okay, like maybe I could see, like a bourbon barrel aged or a rum barrel aged red wine with this. And Paul had mentioned a Pinot Noir, and I think it's going really well. This pairing, it almost has the essence of a smoked jam, because the wine, it's not too dry, it's not too tart, but it has a little bit of more sweet and refreshing fruit notes underneath, and then you get the smoke from the tobacco. One thing I really like about this pipe tobacco is the aroma. It's not as smoky as a campfire like last time, but it has a little bit of, like you'd mentioned, graham cracker hominess to it. So when you put them together,
graham cracker hominess.
Yes.
Not your log cabin.
No log cabin.
No log cabin.
Just graham crackers.
Just graham crackers.
Like some s'mores, maybe?
Like strawberries on graham crackers.
Strawberries on graham crackers.
Not like chocolate and marshmallows, and you're making a s'more.
I mean, you could put like a little piece of chocolate in between, but
Strawberries and graham crackers. That's new for me. Yeah, I'm gonna try that when I get
Definitely picking up more of the fig. I can absolutely.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sure, it's making me salivate.
yeah.
Is it any for you guys? Is
I
making
agree.
you salivate a little bit more?
I am getting that sensation.
Yeah.
You're not just imagining it.
The sweetness between the wine and the Rattray is
Rattrays.
Sorry, misplaced the S there.
Yeah. The Rattrays.
Yeah.
They're really good.
But between the deep figgy fruitness that you're getting from the tobacco and the sweetness that you're getting, the deep rich fruit from the wine is going extremely well. Very, very well done, Paul. Well done.
Kendra, eat your heart out.
He's throwing.
He's got a gauntlet there. Let me tell you something.
I think he's throwing a challenge.
Oh,
He's
my
throwing
goodness.
a challenge out to Kendra.
Now, I know we've been experiencing, a lot of technical difficulties because every major carrier has been dropping all over the country today. But Bree, have there been any questions for us that people may want us to answer for them?
So far that I can see from what my phone is allowing me to see, there have not been. It's our sound has been cutting out a bit. Same with the visuals, but
Yeah.
I think maybe definitely for next time we encourage you all to drop us questions and comments. Keep an eye out on our social media for when we talk about who's going to be on. Think of some ideas of what you want to ask and shoot us questions.
Yeah, you can feel free to do that you can DM us on Instagram or Facebook or even on Twitter. And we do also have email at notjustblowingsmoke@gmail.com. You can send in comments or questions there, and we'd be happy to read those on the show. That's another way for you guys to interact with us. What I will do then is answer a question that I got from a customer today, and that was, at what point are the community cutters coming back?
Yeah, we're getting a lot of that.
Where are they going to now? At Twins, here in New Hampshire, things have been opening up again as of June 15th. Our indoor lounge and bar have reopened, albeit at half capacity, but they've still been reopened. And, people are now allowed back in the store. So both locations are kind of fully functional, if not at full capacity. But you can enjoy everything that both Twins locations has to offer now. But one thing that has not come back is the community cutter. And I was asked, why the community cutter? Why is that an issue? And I said, well, it's not because different people just kind of touch the cutter. It's because some people will come up to the cutter after having put their cigar in their mouth and then go to use the community cutter, which we have already talked about on this show is a major faux pas. You do not, it's a major no-no. You do not want to do that. Why would you, would you go up to some stranger and ask them for their cutter and then, lick your cigar and then use their cutter? Now, you may be thinking, well, I might be getting them back. Maybe I don't like them. Well, maybe they are just like you, and they went, and then cut their thing, and now you have their stuff on your cigar, which you then put in your mouth. It's gross. It's one of those things you just should not do. However, people are people, and they do this stuff. I don't know why. This is why there's such a never-ending supply of patients for psychiatrists and psychotherapists, because people do this stuff all the time. So that's why the community cutter is not yet back, because of everything that there is to come back, that's one of the dirtiest things that you can bring back. So it's going to be a while before that comes back.
Awesome.
You have a compliment on your fedora.
I have a compliment on my fedora. Well, thank you very much. This fedora is from one of our newer tobacconists, Zeke. And Zeke came to us after working, as a manager at some hat shops in Boston. And he had this hat. And for whatever reason, he thought it was too normal, too classic, too traditional for him. And he said, you know what? But I bet Pastor Padron would look great in this hat.
That was a nice
And
hat.
so he brought it in and gave it to me. And I'm very grateful that he did, because it is awesome. And as a matter of fact, we had a pipe show recently, and I got this brand new pipe here, this Savinelli Elegancia, and it's got this nice, really dark blue stem,
Love that
which
blue.
happens to go
Matches.
with my nice dark blue stripe on my hat.
That's
so
true.
now I'm color coordinated and everything. Thank you, Zeke. And thanks, Rob, for noticing my fedora. I knew you would appreciate that.
Rod has a question for us.
Yes. So Rod wants to know, was the TAA the judge different from the judge from last year? And if so, what are the differences? So back to the cigar.
Okay, back to the cigar. They are different. The TAA blend is tweaked, not terribly, but enough that it is a noticeably different cigar. Also, because it is round and not box pressed, the experience of the tobacco is noticeably different. So, yes, it's worth getting. To try those differences. If you liked the judge, then if you like, it's still out. You can still get it. If you like the judge, I would recommend trying the TAA. It's going to be a different experience of a similar blend of tobaccos, but it is going to be different enough that you're going to notice things that you wouldn't normally pick up in the standard judge sizes. This is a little bit smaller of a ring gauge, and again, it's not box pressed. So yes, it's a different cigar. I would totally try it.
And specifically too, if you're not one to go after the full body or medium full body cigars, definitely try one, because I think it's going to appeal to people who are more into the medium or light medium style cigars. There's definitely some nice character to it, but I think people who are generally more geared towards the mild to medium plus cigars would definitely appreciate this cigar.
And Matt, who's saying that the community cutter problems were never an issue before COVID, shame on you for thinking that. It was totally an issue. We had to put signs up and everything. It was totally gross, and it will always be gross. If I had my way, they'd never come back.
Kurt saying about burning hair.
Burning hair. This does not taste anything like burning hair, Kurt.
That's true.
This tastes like graham crackers, maybe some baker's chocolate. There's some nice fruity notes that, more like a dried fig kind of note to it. It's very, very good.
We're going to get you on a pipe, Kurt. Don't worry. It will happen.
That's right, Kurt. It's going to happen.
Yeah, maybe in July during 724 month,
Sooner
we
or
can get you on a pipe.
I, Pastor Padron, the Darth Piper, have spoken.
That is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way. Thank you for correcting me.
Do you know DeWitt?
Oh boy.
Is it like double dipping a chip? Yes, basically, Matt, that's what using a community cutter is like, double dipping a chip.
Oh, Johnny G.
Yep, Jose, good. He was good. It was awesome. I can't wait to actually hear the interview.
Yeah, I know.
We had a lot of technical issues here because this is our first time broadcasting from this location, and it was also our first time, all of us being together and Skyping with somebody. I guess it's one thing when we're all Skyping from different locations, but when we're all here, but one person is Skyping in, trying to connect all of these present microphones into the soundboard in such a way as that we could hear everything without causing great feedback issues was an issue. I think we made it work. So it's kind of like we interviewed him and we were deaf and it just had to kind of nod. But the plus was we really couldn't interrupt him.
That's true. Well, we're reading the subtitles.
But there were subtitles, and that helped a lot. It was really, really good. He was a gracious guy, and I can't wait to have him on again.
I do want to give a shout out to our engineer Dave here, because this is our first time in Hooksett. He's got 5 monitors, God knows what else he's got there, and even though we've had some technical issues that were beyond his control, he's doing a yeoman's job trying to put everything together. And Dave, this is to you, my friend.
Absolutely.
Good job.
Cheers to Dave. Cheers to Dave.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, Dave.
Yep.
Cheers to you.
Yep. And of course, the day we decided to do this, T-Mobile, Verizon, Sprint, AT&T all decided to tank. And, that just causes all sorts of issues. Wonderful.
You know whose fault that really is then? Is
Satan's?
see what connects the towers to all the other towers so everything works in the first place is Comcast.
Comcast?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
The company we all hate the most.
Well, there you go.
Satan.
Rod gives you kudos too, Dave. Well done. That's awesome. So
Thank you, Rod.
You have kudos from Canada. You should sing that. I can't sing that.
Honestly,
Rush does a great version of
You
it.
don't even know the words? Okay. Well, there you go.
Bree's going to sing it next time.
So there you go. So we're going to continue this viewer's confessional. This is going to be a regular thing. So email us at notjustblowingsmoke@gmail.com. You can DM us at Instagram or on Twitter or on our Facebook page, any of those ways, and we will answer questions, comments, concerns about anything. But we prefer it if it was kept to cigars and pipes and stuff like that. But, we'll work with what we got. So keep that in mind as things go forward. And next, we're going to move on to News with Paul. News with Paul. And, this is going to be a very interesting thing because, several weeks ago we had Steve Saka on with us. And one of the questions we asked, which I know we weren't the first to ask, but we did. We asked was, is the brulee sugar tipped or not? I said, settle this. I think it's not. Paul thinks it is. Tell us, Steve, is it sugar tipped or not? And then all of a sudden, this came out after we had this question on our show, which shows a little bit about the influence that we think we have.
This is near and dear to Nick Pastor's and my heart.
Yes, sir.
Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust releasing Sweet Tip Sobremesa Brulees. Last year, Dunbarton Tobacco released a high-end Connecticut wrapped cigar that some people thought had a sweet tip. Steve Saka, the company's founder, said it did not, and instead thought people were tasting natural sweetness from the tobacco.
All right.
Now, people will have the chance to taste a Steve Saka approved sweet tip Sobremesa Brulee. Whoa. Dunbarton Tobacco is releasing a new sampler under the name STFU.
Awesome.
Is that a hashtag there, Paul?
Yep.
A double entendre. That stands for Saka's. This is what it stands for. Saka's Taste for Yourself. or the normal acronym for shut the bleep up. Inside will be 5 6x52 cigars, each labeled with either STFU or exclamation point. The cigars will either be a normal Sobremesa Belay, a sweet-tipped cigar, or a double sweet-tipped. Ooh. The one catch is that Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust will wait until September 15th to unveil which letter corresponds with each blend. The Saka told Half Wheel the samples will be priced at $59.50 and will begin shipping in August. So there we go.
And what does it say on the back there?
Oh, well. STFU, exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. I'm tired of telling people that Sobremesa Belay is not sweet-tipped. Thank you. Many agree, but others do not believe me. So how do I prove a negative? Simple. I let you taste, compare, contrast, and decide for yourself. Included are 5 identical cigars of the Brulee blend, with the only difference being there are 3 versions included. Unadulterated, aka normal Brulee, sugar-tipped, and double sugar-tipped. But here's the catch. I am not going to tell you which is which until September 15th, 2020, via Facebook Live on our DTT page. So smoke them, debate about them, and decide for yourself.
See, now, the one issue that I have with that is that there's no way to know that the quote-unquote unadulterated Sobremesa Brulee is not also in some way sugar-tipped. It's just the one that he normally sells.
True.
So people are never going to end this debate because there may be one that's less sugar-tipped, and there's one that's more sugar-tipped and one that's double sugar-tipped, but how do you know? Now, Steve says that this is all the result of, the tobacco there is just so naturally sweet after all the aging and processing that's done to it. He thinks he's found something unique. And I am of the opinion that it is a very naturally sweet tobacco, and I think any kind of super sweet. I mean, I know what a sugar tip thing tastes like to me. I mean, to me, I don't think it is. But Paul, my brother from another mother, Pablo Maduro, is convinced that there is some funky scientific crap going on with that cigar.
I'll never forget when we first brought it into the humidor, and I think you and I were the first to actually smoke them in Twins. And when I first put the cigar up to my lips, and before I even lit it, I said, "Is this an acid?" It's not that the cigar's an acid. It's just had that sweet flavor that I've only had with an acid. And again, I'm not putting the cigar down. The cigar's a fantastic cigar. It really is. It's so smooth. It draws incredibly well, but I am convinced that there's something else going on there.
And there you have it. So look for those. They will be forthcoming. $60 a pack, $10 a stick, and you can taste for yourself. Is there sugar on that tip or not?
I do not know.
I don't know either.
Well, you'll have to have one, Bree, before this whole thing comes out, and you'll have to. We'll have to get one.
We might have to do a show on that.
Yes, we will have to.
We might have to do it when that pack comes out. I think we're going to have to do a show.
We're all going to be smoking.
We're going to have to do a show. We'll devote the entire show to smoking that and smoke those cigars, and we will give you our opinion on that pack, and we'll let you know what we think. I think that's got to be a show. That's got to be a show.
That sounds good to me.
All right. Now, we haven't done this. We didn't do this last week, and I thought we'd do it again. I kind of missed it. The would you rather question.
Would you rather?
Would you rather? Would you rather? So we're going to do a little round robin on this. Would you rather go back to kindergarten with everything you know now, Or would you rather now know everything your future self would learn? So would you like to go back to being 5? 5. But you know everything you know right now when you're 5. Or would you rather right now all of a sudden know everything you're going to know the rest of your life? Dave, go.
Well, that's easy. I would rather
Be 5.
go back to kindergarten because what if I die tomorrow?
It's a good
I don't know
point.
that.
But you'll know all the stuff from the future, so you know how
I
you die.
don't learn anything new and it's just like nothing's changed. I don't know.
I'm going to play it smart and I'm going to go back to kindergarten.
But can you go back to the year you were in kindergarten? Not like, okay, 2020, you're 5 years old and you're kindergarten.
No. You start.
You go back.
Go back.
Go back.
to
Yeah, so
kindergarten.
everything that you've learned up until now, you go back to
I would go back.
kindergarten.
Yeah, I would agree. I'd go back. I'd go back.
We're not getting into the time-space continuum problem.
Come on. That's not
This is
fair.
a question. This is a question of: would you rather start at a very early age with everything you know now, or would you rather start tomorrow with everything that you would learn the rest of your life? Bree, go.
Yeah, I'm still with, I think I would rather go back to kindergarten knowing everything I know now, because I feel like if I knew the future, that would take the fun out of life. Because you're just like, well, I already know what's going to happen. Whereas now it's like, okay, I'm only 24, so I'd rather
Yeah,
be
that's
in
not that far
kindergarten
back.
having like minor existential crises because I know what my future holds, but then not know what's beyond my future. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like the damage I think is
The damage has been done.
lesser than if I were to go into the future, you know? Maybe you'll make a few different choices too, who knows, you know?
Maybe.
In kindergarten.
Maybe. Paul.
Can I go back to kindergarten knowing all the lottery numbers?
Anything you remember.
And who won the next 30 years World Series?
I mean,
No, yeah, honestly, I would honestly say I would rather just know what the future, what was the last one?
would you rather know everything you're going to learn in the future
Yes,
right now?
yes, I would rather do that.
Why would you rather do that?
Because you're going back to me. I don't want to say my age, but I'm going back almost 50 years. It was tough enough.
More wine.
I would rather not go back. I would rather just move forward.
But Paul, you made such a valid point there. You know?
But see, we haven't clarified whether I would know all that information, or would that information be part of the deal.
That's a good point.
If it is part of the deal, I'll go back. If not, I'm going forward.
I would assume it's what you know and what you remember. So if you don't remember any of those lottery
But
numbers,
is what I know and remember going to be there as I'm going through the next 50 years from age 5 onward? That's the question. So without clarifying that, I'd just rather move forward from here on out.
I'm with Paul. I was in kindergarten once. I don't want to go back.
No.
I definitely do not want to re-experience middle school. That was hell on earth. You know, when you get to a certain age, when you realize, you know, this is the best times of your life are still ahead. And if I could learn, you know, I would rather be better prepared for tomorrow, knowing everything my future self would learn, than going back. I mean, having to deal with everything I know now at 5, I'd be totally messed up.
Yeah.
I'd be one messed up dude. I've been through a lot. Just talk about. You know, you say people are what's the phrase? They have a wisdom beyond their years. I don't want to be like Baby Sheldon.
Stephen Hawkins.
Stephen Hawking. I don't think that's not the same thing, but I would like to know now what my future self would know.
I think you get messed up on both ends, though, because it's like, okay, maybe a kindergartner isn't psychologically advanced enough to be able to handle what they know now, but then at the same time, sometimes knowing your future causes you to act differently in the present and therefore alter your future in a different way.
Very true.
That that's already-
I don't see how you could know what you know now and make the same choices. I don't even see how that would be a remote possibility. It would have to be an alternate reality.
What's wrong with that, Dave?
Nothing.
You believe in multiple universes, don't you?
Absolutely.
Okay, so what's the problem?
None.
It's like, is it a universe you want to be in, though?
Yes.
Different one.
I think you are taking this question way too seriously.
But it brings up good questions, though.
It does bring up good questions.
Think about Not So Raven, all the times that she got messed up because she knew what was going to happen in the future and she tried to compensate for it and then messed up more by...
Yeah, same thing happened to the Flash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The WB Barry Allen is kind of stupid. He's a whiny little dude who's always just blaming himself for everything, and then he'll go back and create some new timeline, and then it is all your fault, stupid.
Yeah, because he created an alternate timeline.
It's just come on. Stop running backwards. Run forwards, Barry. Run forwards. Run forwards. That's what we want to do. We want to move forward.
Forward.
Let's see. Heather says, I dropped out of kindergarten because the kids were dumb.
Oh, boy.
Okay. I didn't know enough to know whether kids were dumb back then or not. I just liked the paints and the little dinosaurs that they had. My nickname when I was in kindergarten, they called me Dinosaur Dan.
Dinosaur
Dan. No, that happened in college. Dinosaur Dan, because that's what I would draw. I was into drawing, and I would draw dinosaurs all the time, particularly Tyrannosaurus Rex.
I enjoyed nap time in kindergarten. That was the best time. Nap time was the best time.
Agreed. Does that make him the Velocipaster?
That would be.
Oh yeah, the Velocipaster.
That's it.
Oh, that meme is going to be the end of me.
It's going to be great.
That's a Velociraptor. Yeah.
Now, next week, people, we're going to be smoking the newly released Aladino Cameroon Toro.
Nice.
And for our pipe tobacco, we're going to really kick it up a notch. We're going to light up Seattle Pipe Club's Plum Pudding Special Reserve.
Oh, God. My God.
Yes.
It is going to be one heck of an episode next week.
Nick is going to be smiling from here to here.
I'm already smiling.
Especially if you're a pipe
Already
smoker.
there, baby.
I love Aladino. They make fantastic cigars. I have not had one of the Cameroon cigars yet. I'm looking forward to reviewing it on the show here next week. Plum Pudding Special Reserve, that's something that I have had, and I'm very excited to hear what my compadres have to say about it as well. It's a wonderful, wonderful tobacco. Like I said, you can be following us on Facebook and on Instagram at Not Just Blowing Smoke. Stay in touch with us so that you know what's happening, so that you know what's coming up. And let's give our final verdict here on the Rattray's Marlin Flake. Dave, you haven't said anything yet. Do you want to say something about the tobacco? How do you like it?
Something.
Well, that was totally worth waiting an entire show for. Thank you, Dave. Thank you so much. Paul.
Very welcome.
It's a very light tobacco. Nice dried fruit on its own. But the wine pairing really brings out a little bit more of those earthy, woody tones. The spice is incredibly smooth. Picked up a little bit of floral notes too. The last few times I draw through it. So really, this is an all-day smoke without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is something that you can just sit back and relax and just unwind and do it a couple times a day.
Now, Bree, I noticed you finished your wine.
I did.
Do you like the wine more than the tobacco, or is the tobacco making you
No.
want to drink wine?
honestly,
Is it the whole salivating thing? You need to
It's
drink
both,
something?
It's both. So I was smoking this pipe tobacco a little bit before the podcast, and just like Paul said, it's like easy. You can just keep smoking it. It's like pretty consistent, and I feel like the wine, it had that refreshing quality where you kind of wanted to go like puff sip consistently, because the flavors together were just so great that you want that full experience every time, rather than with some you want to puff more and sip less, or sip more and puff less. So this proportion was very 50-50. So great pairing.
Very good pairing.
Thank you.
Nick, do you have a little something you want to say quick about what you think about the pipe tobacco?
This is great. I'm gonna go and buy this wine. And
Well, I asked you about the pipe tobacco.
sorry, it's piggyback.
Wine is great. I tell you. Oh, heavens. I need to go get some of this. I'm not sharing it with my chickens, let me tell you.
I'm not sharing it with the chickens or the turkeys. They're getting big, by the way. They're getting big. You see the turkeys. Turkeys are getting big. Pipe tobacco is really good. The deep fruit notes that you get in there are really good, come through really well. A little spice on the retrohale kind of coats my my palate a little bit between the wine and the tobacco, but for me that's okay. And it's just a fantastic medium body, light medium body tobacco that you can smoke all day. This is a fantastic smoke.
What I'm enjoying about it is that as I'm getting to the halfway point in my bowl right now, a lot of those woody, earthy notes and maybe deep fig kind of notes in the tobacco are increasing. They're getting more intense for me as the bowl's going down. So it kind of starts off as a really very light, more mild aromatic. And then as you smoke it, the flavors intensify as you go down the bowl. But that aroma stays the same. It's still very pleasant, very pleasing in your olfactory senses there.
Yes.
But the flavors just continue. They don't really change so much as they intensify a little bit. And they really do go very well with the wine. So all day smoke here, Marlin Flake. It's one of these tobaccos that it comes over from Germany, a couple, maybe 3 times a year. If you can find it, it is definitely worth it, especially if you're liking an all-day vapor. Although we have to say the experience of Perique is going to be more that figginess and not really of spice. This is not a spicy tobacco at all. And if you don't like that, if you don't like having spice, but you want to enjoy those figgy, raisiny kind of notes that Perique also brings, then this might really be up your alley.
Yeah.
And I'd really recommend it. All right, that's what we got for you this week. We'll see you next week when we do the Aladino Cameroon Toro and Seattle Pipe Club's Plum Pudding Special Reserve.
Can't wait.
We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
You've been listening to Not Just Blowing Smoke, the podcast that brings the wealth of knowledge, expertise, and fun of Twins Smoke Shop, New England's premier smoke shop, right to you, wherever you are, whenever you want it. You can find us at our website, notjustblowingsmoke.com, and keep in touch with us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram at Not Just Blowing Smoke. Thanks for listening, everybody, and that is Not Just Blowing Smoke.
Rolling with the top down, smoke.